The 1500s. The world is on the cusp of dramatic change, as distant continents are drawn together by ambition and discovery. Two empires, Portugal and the Ottomans, stand on the brink of a global clash, their destinies intertwined by the vast blue expanse of the Indian Ocean. Portugal, a small European kingdom with outsized ambitions, dreams of glory far beyond its borders. Their explorers and warships have braved unknown waters, reaching the Indian Ocean to control the spice trade, amass wealth, and carve out a new empire. The Ottomans, rulers of a vast empire stretching from North Africa to Persia, dominate the land routes in Mediterranean trade, commanding respect and fear. To them, the Portuguese are bold intruders, threatening their influence, their profits, and the delicate balance of power. The stakes are immense: control of the world's richest trade routes, where fortunes are made and lost. Battles erupt across the Arabian Sea, along the Indian coasts, and even in the highlands of Africa as both sides fight for supremacy. This is a new kind of war, one fought on the open oceans, not just on land, where strategy and technology collide. For Portugal, victory means unimaginable riches, new colonies, and power in the courts of Europe. For the Ottomans, it's about defending their economic heartland, their prestige, and the legacy of their sultans. The outcome will shape not just global trade, but also culture, technology, and the rise and fall of empires for centuries to come. The Ottoman-Portuguese Wars are a dramatic tale of ambition, courage, and relentless conflict on a global scale. Great leaders, epic sieges, and desperate battles unfold thousands of miles from home, testing the limits of endurance and ingenuity. This is a crucial chapter in the story of globalization, where the world's oceans become highways of commerce and conflict. The desire for wealth, adventure, and power drives nations to the farthest corners of the earth, forever changing the course of history. The world will never be the same, as the echoes of this struggle still shape our global connections today. For centuries, the Indian Ocean was the world's economic superhighway, connecting distant civilizations and fueling the rise of empires. Dhows sailed its waters, carrying spices from Indonesia, textiles from India, silk from China, and gold from Africa. These ships braved monsoon winds and treacherous currents, forging links between continents. This trade created a vibrant mix of cultures and thriving port cities where languages, religions, and ideas mingled as freely as goods. Arab, Persian, Indian, and African merchants built a stable, prosperous system, relying on trust, negotiation, and shared interests to keep commerce flowing. The Ottomans controlled the final, most profitable leg. Goods passed through their lands before reaching Europe, making them gatekeepers of the world's most coveted luxuries. For Portugal, this meant sky-high prices and little control. European merchants grew desperate for a way to break the monopoly. Their solution: bypass the middlemen and sail directly to the source, risking unknown seas for the promise of fortune. In 1498, Vasco da Gama reached India by sea, a revolutionary moment that would change global trade forever. Now, Portugal could buy spices cheap and sell them dear in Europe, reaping enormous profits and shifting the balance of power. But the Indian Ocean's traders weren't giving up without a fight. Centuries of cooperation were about to be tested by foreign ambition. The Portuguese brought violence, using cannons to attack ships and ports, determined to force their way into the lucrative trade. Their goal, not just to trade, but to conquer and monopolize, reshaping the region's destiny through force. The peaceful trading world of the Indian Ocean would never be the same, as violence and conquest replaced trust and partnership. The stage was set for a fierce struggle over wealth and power, with empires clashing for control of the seas. The Portuguese would stop at nothing to dominate the seas, determined to secure their place at the top of the world's trading system. The Ottomans would not let their empire's lifeblood slip away, setting the stage for a dramatic contest that would shape the fate of nations. The Portuguese, led by Francisco de Almeida, seized key ports with superior firepower. Their carracks, floating fortresses, outgunned local ships and dominated the sea lanes. Threatened, the Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt and the Sultan of Gujarat formed a coalition, with Ottoman support. In 1508, the Allies struck a blow at Chaul, killing Almeida's son. Almeida vowed revenge, gathering his fleet for a decisive showdown at Diu. On February 3, 1509, 18 Portuguese ships faced over 100 enemy vessels. The Portuguese formed a line, unleashing devastating cannon fire. The Allied fleet, outmatched and disorganized, was destroyed. The Battle of Diu marked the start of European naval dominance in the Indian Ocean. Portugal's trade empire was secured. no local power could now challenge the Portuguese at sea. The balance of power had shifted for centuries to come. The Indian Ocean was now a battleground for empires. The crushing defeat at Diu shattered the Mamluks, ending their hopes of controlling the Indian Ocean trade routes and leaving a power vacuum in the region. Sensing an opportunity, the Ottomans swiftly moved in and took over their lands, absorbing the remnants of the Mamluk Sultanate into their expanding empire. Now the Ottomans controlled Egypt, the Red Sea, and the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, gaining immense strategic and religious influence. They inherited the fight against Portugal. This was about more than just trade. It was a struggle for prestige, faith, and the defense of Islam's sacred sites. Under the ambitious leadership of Sultan Sulayman the Magnificent, the Ottomans reached their peak, commanding vast resources, a modernized military, and a powerful navy that could project force far beyond their borders. The Portuguese threatened not just lucrative trade, but also the vital pilgrimage routes and the security of Muslim ports across the region. In response, the Ottomans began building a formidable new fleet at Suez, determined to challenge Portuguese naval dominance and reclaim control of the seas. The conflict escalated into a direct confrontation between two global empires, each vying for supremacy. The Indian Ocean became a major theater of war. The Ottomans sent soldiers, powerful cannons, and skilled engineers to support local resistance movements and allies fighting against Portuguese expansion. For the Portuguese, facing the might and determination of the Ottoman Empire was a daunting and unprecedented challenge. The struggle for the seas had become a holy war, with global consequences that would shape the fate of empires and the future of maritime trade. The next battles would test both empires to their absolute limits, setting the stage for a dramatic new chapter in world history. By the 1530s, the Portuguese fortress at Diu was a symbol of their power. Massive walls, deep moats, and cannons made it nearly impregnable. For the Ottomans, capturing Diu was essential to break Portuguese control. In 1538, Sultan Sulayman sent a huge fleet, over 70 ships and 20,000 soldiers. The Portuguese garrison just 600 men, led by Antonio da Silveira. The siege began with relentless bombardment and waves of janissary assaults. The defenders, outnumbered and exhausted, fought back fiercely. As supplies dwindled, the Ottomans made tactical errors and alienated their allies. Rumors of a Portuguese relief fleet spread panic. After 2 months, the Ottomans withdrew. The defense of Diu became legendary, a symbol of Portuguese resilience. The fortress held, securing Portugal's position in India for another century. The Ottomans had failed to break the Portuguese stranglehold. The struggle for the Indian Ocean raged on. The Ottoman-Portuguese conflict spilled into Africa, transforming local wars into global struggles that would shape the continent's future. In Ethiopia, the Christian kingdom faced destruction at the hands of the Muslim Adil Sultanate, led by Imam Ahmad and heavily backed by Ottoman weapons and advisors. The Portuguese responded by sending 400 musketeers under Dom Cristóvão da Gama to aid Ethiopia in its darkest hour. For 2 years they fought desperate and brutal battles against overwhelming odds, refusing to surrender. At Huayna Daga in 1543, Portuguese firepower and tactics helped turn the tide of the war. Imam Ahmad was killed in battle. The Adal army collapsed and retreated in defeat. Ethiopia was saved from extinction and total conquest. The fate of kingdoms far from Europe was now decided by the fierce Ottoman-Portuguese rivalry. This global struggle shaped the destiny of Africa as well as Asia, changing history forever. The reach of these empires was truly worldwide, touching every corner of the known world. By the 1570s, the Ottoman-Portuguese rivalry shifted to North Africa. Portugal's young king Sebastian dreamed of a crusade in Morocco. He intervened in a dynastic struggle, facing the Ottoman-backed Sultan Abd al-Malik. In 1578, Sebastian led 17,000 men into battle at Ksar-el-Kebir. The result? Disaster. All 3 kings, Sebastian, Abd al-Malik, and the deposed Sultan, died. The Portuguese army was destroyed. Sebastian was killed. Portugal plunged into a succession crisis. 2 years later, Spain took over Portugal, ending its independence for 60 years. The defeat marked the end of Portugal's golden age. Its empire weakened, opening the door for new European rivals. The Ottoman-Portuguese wars had redrawn the map of power. The struggle for the seas had changed the world forever. The Age of Empires was just beginning.